Hi there, my name's Jackie Hurd. I'm a stained glass artist. I live in Upton. I'm also a paraprofessional at Misco Hill, so you might recognize me from there. But I just wanted to introduce you and show you a little about stained glass. I've been a stained glass artist for a little over 6 years. I grew up around stained glass. My mom took her first stained glass class when I was probably about your age, when I was about 13. I never really learned from her though. I was always too busy doing what teenagers and kids do. I got into it because after she passed, she left 3 pieces undone, unfinished. So I wanted them for my family. So I found a local artist by the name of Eileen Racketon. She is also from Upton, and she runs Autumn Glassworks, and she taught me how to do it. Mrs. Murphy told me that you're going to be studying and learning about various fairy tales, so I wanted to choose something that had to do with Beauty and the Beast. Before I get into what I've chosen to do as a project today, I wanted to show you there's a couple different styles of stained glass. The first one is the traditional lead stained glass. This is what you might find in church windows, and this is soft lead. And it's sandwiched between, the glass is sandwiched between the lead, and then it's sealed off. And you can see how it's squeezed together. And then just the joints are soldered. The type I like to use, and will show you, is called the Tiffany or the copper foiled method. And what it is it's a stained glass that's wrapped in copper foil, which I'll show you later, and then I solder it together. So I mentioned that I chose to do a piece for you that was modeled after the Beauty and the Beast, and I designed a piece that looked like the flower. It took me a couple tries to try to get it right, because when you're working with stained glass you have to really be aware of where your breaks are, because glass doesn't break evenly and you have to be really careful. So you have to, it's almost like a mosaic, and you have to fit things together. So this is the design. Once you've made the design, you transfer it onto a pattern, and then from the pattern you have to cut all the little pieces into what I call templates. Some people choose to make their templates out of hard cardstock. I like to use this lucite plastic, because that way when I'm positioning it I can get the right area of a piece of stained glass or a texture, and so it makes it more interesting. The next fun part, and this is what I enjoy most, is choosing the glass. There's so many different choices of glass. A lot of the glass is made in the United States, some of it's made overseas in Germany and other countries. So it can vary as far as the colors. You can have different textures. You can see, for example, this one it's called glue chip. It looks almost like ferns or like Jack Frost got ahead of it. There's also opaque. There's a mix. They call that wispy, and so you get the idea. Like I was saying, is you want to choose the right type of glass for your project. I have numerous color reds. It's one of my more popular colors. It's also one of the most expensive colors, because the reds and the pinks and sometimes the oranges can get pricey because of the chemicals and what they put in it. Sometimes there's a little 14 karat gold, so that can drive the price up. But boy, the colors are so vivid and gorgeous. So with this, I want some really beautiful reds, so I would definitely use this. And I like to use a couple different reds or different colors in my pieces, because otherwise it's just two-dimensional, and this will add a little life. Okay, I would most likely on this piece start on the center. That's the focal point. I want to make sure I get this centered and perfect, and then I'll build out, because when I get to the edges it's a little more forgiving. Only I know how large I want the piece, so if I need to make it a little larger as I'm going, or where the glass is cut, it gives me some wiggle room. So I've cut this piece. This is number 18. Alright, I'll find it here. Little spot. You'll find I have Sharpie all over my hands most times because I use it every day, whether I'm drawing or tracing patterns like this. There's several different cutters that you can use. This is one of the older cutters that you can use. I typically use this for tapping and scoring. There's also a pistol grip. And then there's this cutter's mate that really does a great job. I'll show you how to use that. And you'll hear this great clicking sound as I'm doing it. So I simply press down gently, not much. And if you heard that clicking and that great sound, that means I got a good perpendicular score. Then I'm going to use my running pliers, hold it, and boom, nice and cut. So I'm going to continue cutting. Okay, so you can see there's some really sharp edges right here. And what I'm now going to do is grind it. So I'll take you over to my grinder. Might get a little noisy, but what I'm going to do is take these little burrs, I don't know if you can see them, right here, and you grind it so that way when later on I'll show you the copper foil that I put on, it will stick. Alright, here goes. Great. Alright, so you'll see that now I can actually run my hand over this without getting cut. Alright, I want to clean off the piece and I'll check to see how it works, how it fits. Here. And I can see I have to grind a little bit more, and you want it to fit fairly spot on, because if you're not accurate on your cutting, the piece will have big gaps, and you want to have, at the end with the finished product, you want to have very thin seams like this. I'm really excited about this piece. The next step is to wash all the pieces. I usually use alcohol to get any residue of oil, and then I'll wrap it in copper foil. So I'll show that to you next. This is called foiling, or wrapping the glass in the copper foil. This is filled with rubbing alcohol. And what you want to do is you want to rub every surface to clean it. And I do a couple at a time, only because I want to have them dry completely before I wrap them. And if I really made a mess of this glass when I was grinding it, it was all spattery. So any side that you want solder to touch, you have to wrap in copper foil. And on some of these pieces here, I want them to have a really nice thin line. So what I'm going to do is I center the piece in between, and I rub it down with my hand. And you want it even. You don't want one side with more tape, because it's unsightly. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using the fin, and I'm pressing the adhesive to the glass. Okay, so you want to do both sides. You want to make sure it's nice and even. So I've done this, and then what I do is I want to put it back. What I'm going to find is as I'm doing this, it's going to sometime expand, which means that I might have to go down and grind pieces so that they fit, because the copper foil, my pieces are cut fairly tight, that I'm going to have to make sure that they fit. Hi guys, it's solder day. I just wanted to show you what the piece looks like after I have totally foiled it, and now what I'm going to be doing is soldering. I will brush the piece with flux, okay, and what the flux does is it helps prepare the copper foil to clean it off, as well as allows the solder to stick to the foil and adhere the two pieces of glasses together. So I've got to just hit these pieces with a little solder and make them stick together. So hopefully you can see the little dots I'm just placing. And I'll go back and smooth these all out. Where pieces come together, that's where I'm doing it. Okay. And I will remove this now. And you can kind of get an idea on what it's going to look like now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is gently flip it over, and then I'm going to do these seams. So guys, you're going to find that I soldered pretty much both sides. Now what I'm doing is going over the seams. See, there's a little rippling here and here and here. I don't like that. So what I'm doing is going over it, and then I'm going to do the edges. But now at this point, it's fairly strong. I finished the piece of stained glass, and I've cleaned it up a little bit. And here's where the creative process comes in. I could leave it like this, and it has very thin edges, and I'm wrestling with it, but I'll be honest with you, I think I am going to use the zinc. And it not only will the zinc, it's fairly thin, but when it's soldered on, it's going to give the piece so much more heft, and I like it better. So I'm going to, I could go with the whole piece, but this is fairly thick, and so I think I'm going to stop it right at that seam. Okay guys, so I just wanted to show you what I did so far. My camera battery died, so I had to charge it, but I moved on, but I'll show you the process. What I did is I covered all of the lead lines with patina, black patina, and the reason why I used the black is, remember, I wrapped the piece in copper foil that was black, and that's because if I look at an angle, if I had silver, for example, I would see the silver poking through, peeking out, and so I didn't want that. I wanted the black. So this gives you more of a traditional feeling. I did add a few three-dimensional elements with the spiral. Hi guys, this is what the piece looks like finished. I added the petals and I glued them down with the E5000 glue, and I'm hoping that that's going to keep the petals on. But I hope you really enjoyed learning a little bit about stained glass, and I hope you have a wonderful summer. Stay safe. Be well.